Today I want to show you how to create a USB bootable puppy stick. Um, as you can see, right now I'm booted with a FussaPup64 CE4 ISO, but it's actually from Ventoy USB bootable that I have, and so it's not even mounted, but it is able to run the FussaPup. And I also have an internal hard drive with the Windows 11 I just installed. So why would you need a USB bootable PuppyLInux? Because you do not want to have the PuppyLInux in the same partition, or preferably even a same hard drive as the Windows, because tendency of the Windows would update to mess up the configuration of the PuppyLInux and grub. Running PuppyLInux from USB stick is problematic if the save folder is in the USB stick, because save folder, unlike the other parts of a read-only PuppyLInux ISO, save folder does not get loaded into RAM. So it is ideal to have the separate save folder within the internal hard drive, because the internal hard drive, in this case particularly SSD, is much quicker and faster than very relatively slow USB stick. So I'll show you today how to properly configure, for one, internal hard drive using gparted to have a make a save partition and also swap partition, and also we'll use another USB stick to make a bootable puppy USB stick. Just as overall introduction, my main computer is i5 with 8 gigs of RAM and 500 gig of internal SSD. Although I don't use Windows, I installed it just for purpose of this demonstration. Create the partition for the save folder of the PuppyLInux. So to do that, this is a fresh copy again of a Windows that I just installed in a 500 gig internal SSD. So the first thing I would do is go ahead and resize the main Windows partition, and then you can I'll leave approximately 140 gig, so they'll be fine. And then we'll just resize, and then I'll break this into save folder, new, and then since it has 8 gigs of RAM, PuppyLInux really does not need to swap partition, but because of it has 8 gigs of RAM, I will just maybe give it 2 gig. So here, this save partition needs to be in ext4, and label is very important because we're gonna later on instruct the PuppyLInux bootable USB stick to notify exactly it's in a label partition in internal hard drive, and we're gonna name it with capital A SAV. So we'll go ahead and add, and then again the rest of it small, we'll just make it a swap partition. So Linux swap, and then we'll go ahead and add, and then we'll go ahead and apply. So this making a quick save a partition. And the swap. Okay, so that's that went fairly fast. So now we have a partition where we can go ahead and dump the save a folder. So I think that since SDA5 is new here, we'll go ahead and make a further directory of small letter save folder, and in fact the different save folders will go in here later. So now the internal hard drive is all pretty much set. Now next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and make a bootable USB stick. So I have a bootable USB stick that I'll go ahead and insert now, and it's recognized as SDH, and it has a ISOs, PuppyLInux ISOs that I'll leave a link as to where you can get the ISOs of these two demonstrations that I'm doing here. So now we need to partition the USB stick. So, but I'll need these two ISOs to go ahead and prepare the USB stick. So first thing we want to do is go ahead and save these two files. So we'll go ahead and go to home that I am recording. This is my recording right now, and we'll just leave these here on the home partition and just go ahead and copy it. So we want to just have it available for later. So that's done. Now we can go ahead and safely partition SDH. So we'll go ahead and make this small, and then we're gonna go to partition gparted again, but this time we're gonna be partitioning the USB SDH. So right now it's mounted, so you can see it's mounted. So we'll go ahead and click, and we'll go ahead and right click and unmount. And because it's going to be used in a UEFI machine, what I want to do is have this bootable disk have a device, create partition table. It should be GPT. Okay, GPT. You want to pick that, and you want to go ahead and apply. And then it's we only will need this just to go ahead and be able to boot PuppyLInux. So what I'll need is we're going to make a small partition here. 500 megabyte is more than enough. And then we're going to make it FAT32, and we're going to put a label of EFI. And then next we will give maybe 4 gigs. This is again more than enough. This ext4 is fine, and we're going to put a label of pups, PUPS, puppies here. So, and then we're going to go ahead and apply these two. And then we don't really need the rest of the space of the USB. So, and then it's very important not to forget this. So right click on the first partition of the USB and manage flags, and then ESP, and that will also enable boot. So, and then close. Now USB stick is properly partitioned. Now what we want to do is use a frugal pup app here in CE4. So we'll just go ahead and click, and then what we're gonna do is prepare SDH bootable disk properly, so it will boot and then find the safe folder that's gonna be in the SDA5. So we'll go ahead and open that up, and first thing we'll want to go to the settings, and then notify the USB is we're gonna have a separate save location, which is gonna be SDA5, and then use autosave, and then you want to go ahead and give it an OK, and then we're gonna start putting in PuppyLInux, and then I'm gonna be using the ISO. And then ISO that we already put in is CE4 is 1, so you will go ahead and then we're gonna put it in under the pups SDH. So that's the USB stick, a bootable USB stick again. So we're gonna just double click and then create a folder. So I like to make CE4, I'll just make a folder of CE4, which is the ISO, and then enter. Do not, so after you have to make sure you're under the directory. So create folder and then return, and you'll be directed here. Now you're gonna have to say OK here. And then it wants to know where the save location is. So we're gonna have this, it's gonna be under SAV, capital SAV label, which we made before. So we'll go and enter, and then furthermore we wanna give it, put it in the directory of the folder of SAVE, and then enter, and then OK, and then now OK. Now it's gonna do its thing and prepare the bootable disk with the SE4. Okay, so that took almost 2 minutes. So it's written, so that's fine. Okay, and then we're gonna put in another PuppyLInux ISO. So it's gonna be Bionic Pup 64. So again, we'll go ahead and tap on the puppy icon here, and then it's gonna be ISO again. And then this time it's going to be Bionic Pup 64, and then OK, and then it again wants to know where we're gonna yes, the default person could have OK to use it. OK, yes, that's OK. And then we're gonna put again as same as before, except we're gonna use a BP64 this time, and then enter, return key. Now we're in the correct space, and then OK. And then it wants to know what the save location is. It's gonna be a label of SAV, and then it's gonna be in that folder, and OK. And then we're going to give it another OK and wait another 2 minutes. Okay, that again took about 2 minutes on my computer, and it's all OK. Now what we need to do is have a boot grub prepared on SDH1. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and click on boot this time. And then its default partition containing the puppy is the second partition, SDH2, so that's correct. And again, this is BP64 and CE4 which created, that's correct. And then we want SDH1, which is the USB stick. We want to click this and then OK. And then it's a UEFI 64-bit is correct one, and I'll just say OK, and then OK again. So it's making a grub partition. So that's done. And now we can go ahead and close this application at this time. And then we want to take a quick look inside here. And then let's go ahead and drag this grub CFG into Genie. So we'll go ahead and close that. And then we'll make this a little bigger so you can see. And the font's bigger. And then want a line wrapping. Let me just make it real big. So the time 5 seconds. I don't really need 5 seconds. This is a Bionic Pup again. That's the first one here. So I'll just like to make a name the same as what the partition, same as BP64 in this case. So BP64, and then here is CE4. This is optional, obviously. So now the next thing I recommend is that right now grub is configured thinking that we're gonna boot from the USB flash, which is correct, but save folder is gonna be in the hard drive, so it makes it much more convenient to have this into a USB HD. And then again, it knows that it's going to save in the save label under the save folder here. So that's for BP64, and likewise we also want to HD in CE4. One further advantage of making this HD is you will not end up with the icon, save icon on the PuppyLInux main screens. The other thing right now, rather than, I like to have CE4 as the primary, so auto boot, so we'll make it a default there. Right now its default is BP64. We'll just make it once because it'll just make it boot into CE4. And then now the USB stick bootable disk is pretty much all done. Now next little thing that I will do is I'll open up a save partition under the save folder, and then I want to put in a save folder of FussaPup CE4 that I have from for my daily use on the same computer. So what I want to do right now is go ahead and connect my external USB drive and then activate it. And so here's my external hard drive, and within it I have save folder, and I have a FussaPup FussaPup. So this is save folder with the BSPWM tiling manager. So all I want to do is just copy this over here. So what this will do is when I boot from USB stick, if I choose to boot from FussaPup 64, even on the first boot it will load up all my configurations. So I don't even have to do any setup on the same machine. But so this is going to be the save folder. Now if I choose Bionic Pup 64, I will have to go through the complete setting of the quick setup, since it will not have any saved folder to look for. So I think that I have successfully booted into a Pup CE4 with my configuration of save folder. So you can see that it's automatically mounted with SDA5, where we have the SSD partition. So the puppy is accessing that save folder here. And also I've mounted the external hard drive because that's where my recording file for this video is being placed. So now some of the programs may have slightly been changed, because, for example, when I made this save folder, my Dead Beef music files were they had the partition name of SDB, but now because of creation of window partition, the SDB is not being accessed correctly. So let me just show you. So when I start my Dead Beef now, you get this error, so you can't find the file. So what you have to do is just go ahead and just delete all the information of the album, and then you have to redirect. So now we got to go into file system and MNTC, and now it's on SDC3 rather than before it was SDB. So we'll go in there, and then under music, and then under Korean folder is where I have all those songs. So now it's gonna play properly. So that's one big advantage of using the old save folder with a new setup like this. So most of the work is already done. Now if I reboot and boot into using Bionic Pup 64, then you have to go through the initial configuration of quick setup.